All right, so we're putting in drive shaft and converter and then working on wiring and trying to, all we're gonna do is try to hustle to start it today, I think.
Yep.
Just to grab some motivation for I was on vacation, then Mark was on vacation, but this is a leisure project, so we're not killing each other.
Yep.
So we're gonna put the Jake's converter in the TH400 and not forget the dipstick. I've been talking about the dipstick because I know I'm gonna forget it. We got the drive shaft built. So right now we're gonna do converter and bolt the tranny in and put the drive shaft in and check everything, and then we'll come back. Perfect. So we're having trouble with the third click here, and we're pretty sure it's the pump engagement here is not big enough, so we're gonna make it bigger in our machine shop over here at Urban Race Cars.
A little clearancing?
Yeah.
Massage on it?
Yeah, a little bit of.
Little massage power?
A little bit of edging.
There's the TH400, guys.
Make sure there's no burrs.
Just going back in. Just fucking getting the converter back to fit all the way in. Take the burrs out, pull up the fucking carpet.
Pull the tampon.
Tampon pulled.
Plug. Good to go. She's clean.
All right.
That should have opened it up, hopefully.
Hey guys, making some cable arms here.
Grab the torch. Just click the button off.
There you go.
No, it's good, it's good.
Good?
Yeah, it's just shut it off so it's not, so I can bring my hands back in from fully extended. Yep, that's how I do it. Some of them always poke out.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll just nip them and then we'll
put it together.
Heat shrink it.
Sweet. Hey guys, getting ready. Mark
has a nice little transfer pump set up. It has a filter on it, hydraulic hoses.
Let me down to one.
Pumps it into the engine. So after we get 6 quarts in, we're gonna measure the dipstick and make sure all of that is happy.
Good.
Okay, well, we got our converter in and a lot of other stuff, and we had some mishaps, but we're there, obviously. So the drive shaft is in, nice and pretty, perfect length. The homemade / whatever mount laying around. I got battery cables going into the trunk. We don't have the battery in the trunk yet, but obviously it's got to be fastened. Our fuel lines have to be moved around. We got the converter in and the drive shaft in. We just got to get bolts for the converter. Everything else is really good. Yeah, I mean, the car is pretty much all sorted. Mark just filled it with oil. We got that on video, I forgot just a minute ago. Yep. I got the ground wire for the battery over here. I got the starter wire, and then we'll get a shot from up top where I did bulkhead wiring, and I'm gonna run it into the car too.
Yep. Just moving the water neck on the rad.
Get some shots underneath. Yeah, the rad is out of the car. One of Mark's buddies is gonna move the neck. That's the 5-inch, and Monkey Fab gave us this guy, 8s for 8, Sloppy Mechanics. Got the nice raccoon there too. And that 5-inch dump is gigantic. Everything else is looking good. Downpipe has a nice mount. Intercooler piping, hot side.
Looking good.
Got everything else. Here's the 4-inch VS Racing intercooler, which fits perfectly. There's a S475 from VS. The twin gates. The oil feed. The oil drain.
Motor's full.
I mean, everything looks so simple just because there's like nothing in this engine bay. Yeah, we just gotta put plugs in. These are some plug wires. Everything else is doing good. Manual brakes are bled already. Mark tightened up bolts. He's been trying to tighten every bolt he can see because some are 80% of them were loose. This was an unfinished project car, so that's just something you got to do is tighten all the damn bolts. We just put the tranny and dipstick in, something we kept forgetting, but finally got the transmission and dipstick in. So trans is done other than the converter getting bolted and like the shifter linkage. Oh yeah, here's my, I thought for fun, I always wanted to do this and it's actually working out really well. I'm pretty pleased with it.
Yep, come out.
So the those are bulkheads and they go into the car. So then in the car I have power and ground right there. So then I can run them to my fuse panel, which I screwed where the stock ECU used to be, which actually was still in the car. I was kind of blown away.
Yep.
We pulled the dash out and the stock ECU is still hanging out in there. But yeah, we're like, we got to get the fuel cell in the back and get the lines to it. There's no holes in the floor, assuming they were going to do an external pump or something. Right. So we got to drill holes and maybe even extend the fuel lines a tiny bit, mount the shifter. The real tiny stuff to clean up. I think next time I come, we're just going to focus on fire. Like, we're just going to do, even if we lower the car and set the fuel cell on the ground and connect the fuel hoses where we have the length, we'll just fire it. Make sure everything's worthwhile continuing. And then once it fires, clean up the wiring and everything else. It's definitely not far now that the battery wires are run. Starter, ground to the extra ground wire comes off for the block. And then the ones coming from the battery behind it, all that stuff's done. I mean, those were like 11 bucks or 20 bucks. 10 each or something like that. Totally worth it. But yeah, everything else is really getting close. So, not much else to do. I put the Y band in, I didn't tighten it yet. But I screwed it in by hand. And then the only other thing I need to do is extend this fuel pressure wire. And swap the pins. If a bird come in here? I heard a little chirp above my head. So yeah, not much else to do. We're really far.
A couple more hours.
So yeah, next time I come here, hopefully we can fire it.
Awesome. Yep.
That's about it.